Hey guys, Alicia, Murray, A.Vessel, um, here. Um, so I decided that there's a possible chance that my testimony um, can be beneficial to someone else. And so I am choosing to um, record um, basically my story, what I went through. I'm not a public speaker. You're going to hear a lot of ums. This is completely out of my comfort zone. So that's how I know it's probably God. Um, so if you don't know, um, I'm what you would call a walking miracle, I guess. Or I've been called walking miracle. Um, let's see. June 8th, 2022. At this point, I had lost 80 pounds in like 3 months. Um, my my skin on my hands now, it's all clear, but my hands look like something out of The Walking Dead. Just flesh, and like anytime I would touch something, I would cut myself. It was like this on my hands and my legs. I had sores on my feet that the flesh was showing. Basically, I couldn't walk. It hurt so much. Um, I that day or maybe the day before, I was in my bed and my mother was just like begging me. This is now like the 30th time in the last 2 weeks maybe that she was begging me to eat, begging me to get out the bed. She's very concerned about me, and also at this time, I was seeing things. So I started to. So I'd say all of this, like my decline, my not downfall, but my health declination, whatever, um, started in January of 2022. I had gotten this intense craving for pickles. That's all I would eat. It got as bad as a jar a day. Um, and for the first 3 months, I probably honestly only ate like maybe 5 to 7 times, like maybe 5 to 7 meals in 3 months. I wouldn't eat for days. Um, and when my mother would, beg me to eat, I would, you know, get a jar of pickles and like drink the juice. I wouldn't even eat the pickles at one point. Um, it's very weird. um, and so I'd say by like March, I started seeing things. I I had woke up one day and it was like a infestation of ants in my room everywhere. Um, I'm screaming to my mother, oh my God, I don't know what happened with all the ants from outside or something they got in my room. I'm looking for like, holes in my wall and in my windows, seeing if it was, if the screen was cut or anything like that. And I call my mother and my dad, and they come in the room, and she is like, um, the look on her face was like she was so worried because there was nothing there. There was no infestation. There was no ants. That's like that would probably be, if you asked her, that probably would have been the first day that she said, "Okay, I think something's wrong." Um, so I would see from then on, from March on, my new reason for not eating was that every time I would get something to eat, it would be crawling with ants or spiders. So I wouldn't eat, or I would make food. This is another thing my mother would hate. I would make food and then store it in the refrigerator and never eat it. Like, she would ask me, please, like, go get something to eat, make something to eat. I would make it, or I'd buy some food. If it's a good day, I'd take a bite of it, put it in the refrigerator. The refrigerator was full of uneaten food, spoiled, because she didn't know that it was in there. And you know, if something spoils in your refrigerator, that means it's been there for a very long time, because the refrigerator keeps it, you know, um, edible or whatever. And so yeah, I was seeing ants, I was seeing spiders, and I started seeing like these black lines. And then there's a video I found a couple months ago in my old phone of me recording myself seeing like angels. So I would tell my mom, it's over there in the corner, the angel, it's right there, you don't see it. And as I'm saying this to her, like, I look like death. Like, I'm gonna try to find some of the videos and post them. Like, my eyes were just like bulged like that, and there was like sores around my mouth. Um, I was just, I was so sick. My legs were 3 times the size of my legs. They were huge and swollen, and I had sores everywhere. There was sores everywhere. I remember trying to use the bathroom, and I couldn't even, like, my dad, he bought me a what is it called, like the handicap toilet or whatever, because I could not sit like on the toilet and get up from it. I was so weak, and I would like fall asleep on the toilet. True story, I fell, I mean, to date, I probably fell off the toilet like 10 times. Um, but before I got sick in 2022, um, I had fell badly, hit my head. What the problem was, I was so weak and out of it, and just like slowly dying, that when I would go to use the bathroom, I would barely have enough energy to use it, and then I would fall asleep. And I'm talking about like dead sleep, like I'm dreaming. In REM sleep, gone. And I guess the weight of my body would pull me forward, and I would like wake up on the floor. And so I also remember just not being able to do anything. And you know, like my mom and my dad was a double amputee at this time. He was in the wheelchair, and I used to do everything for him. Alicia, go get this, go get that. Where's the remote? But all of this stuff, I would just always do for him because he couldn't really do for himself. Well, he could, but he was lazy sometimes. And I couldn't do anything. I could not do anything but just sit there. I remember times just sitting in the recliner chair my dad bought, just sitting there for hours, not being able to do nothing. The TV on, I'm barely watching it. Like I really was just like slowly dying, but we didn't know that. And so June 8th, my mother said, "All right, it's time. We gotta go to the hospital." And I go to the hospital. I don't remember. The last thing I remember is her begging me to get up from my bed. And I couldn't. I would swing my legs over to the side, and when I try to get up, oh my God, the pain. Oh, you can't even imagine the pain that would just. It's like stepping on hot coal almost. And I had no energy. So like if you were to jump on hot coal, you're gonna jump right back off, because it hurts. It's like jumping on the hot coal and not being able to move. That's basically how it felt. So I went to the emergency room, and I think I don't remember a lot. At that point, my mind was kind of gone, and I was slowly falling into what's called ICU dementia. So I was in LGH hospital, and they said that my protein levels was really low. And I needed a lot of protein, so they would, make me drink those protein shakes. Um, and I remember like still not being able to like move at all, really. And I'd say I was in there for like 2 days, 2 or 3 days. Um, the goal was for me to pass um occupational therapy. Like if I passed their test, then I could go home and my mother could take care of me, help me back to, nurse me back to health. So I did the test and I barely passed. I basically begged the lady um to just say, I passed so that I could go home because I hated being in the hospital. I didn't want to be there. Um and so I remember them approving me to go home. I went home and I probably was home for maybe like 6 hours. And we just realized that I was so like I was so sick. My mother couldn't like help me. She didn't know what to do. She was helpless. I came home, but I came home not being able to do anything still. Like I just wanted to be home because I don't want to be in the hospital, but I couldn't do anything. I couldn't walk. I was using a wheelchair. I wasn't eating. Still seeing all of these crazy things. My skin, just everything I touch, I brush up against the door, and not only my arm is cut, but now I'm bleeding. Like my skin was like thin paper. I can't think of Um, it was like paper thin. I guess that's how you say it. Um, anything could just kind of nick me and I'd be bleeding like crazy. So we decided I should probably go back to the hospital. And this time, I I guess I was able to walk because um no, see, the second time the ambulance came and got me. So I guess maybe the first time I went to the hospital, I'm not sure. One of those times, June 8th or a couple of days after, um I was kind of rushing out the house to get to the in the car to go, and the slippers I had on, I one of my right foot got stuck behind my left foot, like trying to close the door, and I fell over and hit my head. And that's the last thing I remember. And, until I got to LGH, and so um, got to LGH, and I was in rough shape. I was everything was just bad. Like my levels were the lowest it's ever been, and I know about levels. Since 2012, I had to get a blood transfusion every year because my iron levels would like just that my iron is always low. I can't absorb iron like everybody else, like take an iron pill and you're fine. I can't do that. I need infusions. Um, and so my iron was low. My blood count was like a 3. It's supposed to be like between 8 and 10 is like kind of normal. 12 is good. Mine was a 3. Matter of fact, I think it was like 2.88 or something like that. Extremely low. My blood count was so low, and the lady, just that alone was like, you can die. Like your blood levels are so low. I forgot what it's called, hemoglobin, I think. So low that you can die. And I remember being in one of the hospital rooms. I think it was, I feel like it was like in the emergency area. It didn't feel like a room, like my own room. And I remember just seeing all of the black lines, rigid black lines everywhere, all over the ceiling, all over me, my bed. I couldn't see my brother and my parents' faces clearly, or whoever would come up to me. I couldn't see their face clearly because it was just, have y'all played Mario Karts when the the ink thing, like if an opponent throws that ink blot thing or whatever, and then the screen gets black and you can only like see through the ink blot, like when you're playing. I think that's what it's called. That's how it was. I couldn't see anything. I couldn't see my hands clearly. um I remember, wow, I remember being in the hospital bed and not being able to use the remote for the TV. I could not push the buttons. And it was so frustrating because at this point, I really wasn't able to like speak like that. We still don't know why. It was like my brain shut down. So I wasn't able to say like, oh, can you turn it to this? I want to watch this. So I would end up watching everything that I didn't want to watch. I watched a lot of news. Because people, if somebody came to visit me or the nurse or whatever, they would just put it on a random channel. But like, I couldn't hold the remote. Those hospital remotes on the bed, the ones that push your bed up. I remember asking my dad on this side to push the bed up. Wow. Wow. I remember that. Um, so I'm gonna stop there because I don't want the video to be so long. Wow, it's just that say 20 minutes. Okay. I gotta work on this, y'all. um, so yeah, that's the beginning of my death story, or my almost death story. Tune in for the rest of it. Thank you guys for watching.